Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you're at. Last week, we did a video, and I talked about how I was spending my children's inheritance. Well, my kids called up and, Dad, what are you doing? A video, you're spending the money that we're supposed to inherit. And says, hey, don't worry, sons, not a problem, because I spent a whole bunch more of it. So if you want to see what you're going to get when I die, watch this so that way you have an understanding, right? Isn't this great? You can't take it with you, so you might as well listen to it. I think I'll be burned like in a pier, one of those funeral piers. There'll just be all this vinyl and CDs surrounded it, and they can set me afire just like a Viking. Pretty darn cool. So, I know Record Store Day was yesterday. I was very busy during it. In fact, that's some of the stuff, but not going to get into it because I haven't listened to a lot of it yet. And I like to listen to it first just to see, is it good, is it bad, whatever. There's are a few of the things that I've listened to. But I did get around, I'm in the Michigan area, so every Record Store Day, I think for the past 7-8 years, I've gone to Detroit and get first in line. Always a big deal to me. Hey, first in line, yay. First pick, and you get in there, so I was pretty lucky. But also where I live, out in Midland, Michigan, we have this Radio Wasteland. Did I put that upside down? Look at that, I did. Radio Wasteland Records, which is a really neat place. This guy started it a little over a year ago. Jim Gleason has a great record store. Man, it's not the largest one in the world, but he always has so many different things, and it's always something new and happening, and he's taken a lot of my money, but that's okay. I enjoy it. So let's look at exactly how I spent my kids' money. Now, I know once in a while you hear stuff about Amazon and man, they're expensive, it's not worth it. Let me tell you, you can find some great deals on Amazon. You just have to kind of look for them and know where, an ad comes in, you kind of see what's going on with it. I'll just show you some of these that I got. So there's David Bowie. That's hunky dory. Not hunky dory. It is hunky dory. 180 gram pressing, $12 on Amazon. $12. The CD costs that much. Dave Brubeck, Take 5. For those, if you don't know if you like jazz, you're not sure, you don't own any jazz, that's a way to go. Try that one. If you like that, you just might like some more jazz. If you don't like that, you just may not like jazz at all. But again, $12. Had this one, Joy Division. Everybody knows Joy Division, Unknown Pleasures. Again, 180 gram. I think it was like $11 or something. Really inexpensive. Oh, got one more. Hold on. Hey, there we go. I was just listening to this one, Sonny Rollins with the Modern Jazz Quartet. Really kind of neat. It's from a concerts from 1951. This was actually 1953. Found it on Amazon, and again, I think it was only like $10 or something. Fantastic music. This is a really good album. Art Blakely's on drums on here, and I really do like his stuff. Percy Heath, Kenny Drew on piano, and of course Sonny Rollins playing tenor sax. So if you like jazz, check on Amazon. I still don't know if it's as cheap as it was, but wow, it was a great deal. Had to have it. So deals are out there. So a couple things I found here from Record Store Day that I've listened to. This was one of the things I really, really wanted. Bunk Johnson. Pretty neat, huh? If you don't like to read, then the inside's not very good. If you like to read, though, hey, there you go. You got a little bit of a novel. But it kind of talks about Bunk. And there was a guy named Bill Russell. Bill Russell was doing a lot of recordings during the early 40s, but he was also working in a factory. Nice blue vinyl, really pretty. So he was in New Orleans, and he'd heard about this guy Bunk Johnson and got a hold of him. And Bunk was making jazz music back to the very beginning of the century, of the 20th century. And there wasn't a lot of it on record. You had Louis Armstrong, you had a bunch of the people from the 20s, but not before that. So this guy wanted to record Bunk. So what he did, he didn't have a lot of money. He was working in a factory, by gosh, and he had enough money to like buy the wax to put it on, so he had to find friends to borrow the equipment. Then he had to find some session players and people to, play with bunk. But, this, he recorded, these are from 1943 to 1945. It was some of the various sessions that he had, and it's really, really interesting jazz music. Again, it's before the 20s, but he's Bunk's a cornet trumpet player, really, really good. Hard for me to explain. If you like early jazz, or if you like the history of music, and that's kind of what I really get off on, the history of music, this was really nice. So found that on Record Store Day. I was really happy with that. I posted this out there. Johnny Winter. I never get tired of Johnny Winter. He just is one of my all-time favorites. Came out on a nice red vinyl. I think every Record Store Day, Johnny Winter has something out there. And generally I pick it up. This is called King of the Slide Guitar. Another live recording from Johnny Winter. Yes, I know 1 billion of them, but I always enjoy each and every one of them. Another one I picked up, Bo Diddley. This is from 1964, a re-release of his greatest hits, all-time greatest hits. Again, if you like the history of music, white vinyl, this guy's really important. I mean, he created so many licks that were copied in the 60s, from the British invasion, from, bands in America. I mean, Bo Diddley, he had the Bo Diddley beat, how about that? And but it's what so many people copied, because it was catchy, it was infectious, and you still hear it to this day. So I was really excited to see that this thing was out there. I have a lot of Bo Diddley on vinyl, so what's one more? Another Record Day purchase was The Kills. This was on my list. I've been buying The Kills for a number of years. A really neat alternative band from the aughts and the obviously, this decade right now. This was live, and it's just, I don't know, these guys really, really rock. And it's not like heavy metal, it's very alternative, almost with a punk feel to it. So if you haven't ever listened to The Kills, this was live at Electric Lady Studios. Just give it a shout. Give it a try on YouTube or Amazon. See what you think of them. Again, I think they're great. Some of the used stuff I picked up this week was a Tutu. I do not own, not even in CD, Miles Davis's Tutu. Now, let's face it, a lot of people don't like the later Miles. I mean, he did change a lot, but I totally enjoyed, his later stuff. It's still really, really good. I like the 60s more, but really nice album. A little beat up on there, but it's hard to find Miles Davis out there. I don't see much of it. I bought this one here, In a Silent Way by Miles Davis. Sorry about that. I know it's in plastic sleeves. And this is one of my favorite Miles Davis albums. In fact, it was so good that when I got home and I was putting in the card catalog system, I looked, oh look, I owned a copy already. Dang gummit. That happens once in a while. You buy two. On the bright side, notice the ring wear, and notice no ring wear. And they're both reissues from the 70s. So I got a good copy, and I guess I have one to go in the bin that someday I will try to sell some of those. That's someday. I got 3 or 4 bins of it right now of someday. The other one that I found, remember I showed you from Amazon, I got the Dave Brubeck Time Out. The reason why is I've never found it in vinyl, and I've always wanted it in vinyl. I have a couple different variations in CD, but I've never seen it in vinyl. Well, guess what? When I was out this week, ta-da, there it is, and it's a mono version of Time Out from the Dave Brubeck. So I had the one come from Amazon. Again, 10, 12 bucks, that's it. I paid more for this one, but I was really excited to see it because, again, it is one of my favorite jazz albums. I just totally love it, and I just never get tired because it's really catchy and poppy. Found this one here, Bruce Springsteen, Nebraska. Born and raised in Nebraska, so I just had to have it because of that. But for some Springsteen fans, this isn't they don't like it because it's just like him and a guitar, him and a harmonica. It's really moody. It reminds me of those lonely back roads. But he had some of those, like Highway Patrolman, State Trooper, Used Cars, Nebraska. Some really neat reflective songs. And when it first came out, I didn't like it either. But I've really grown to enjoy it. I think I'm gotten older, so I don't want so much screaming in my ear. I need once in a while something a little bit more relaxing. And this is a really neat introspective album. Real quick here. There's a number of Gordon Lightfoots I picked up here. This was Summer Side of Life, one of his early ones. Look, he doesn't even have a mustache. Late 60s, early 70s. Endless Wire, I really didn't own it, so found that one there. This is at Radio Wasteland Midland, and classic Lightfoot. And this is his early stuff from the 60s. So I've always liked him for his storytelling. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald is still one of my all-time favorites. But his really early 60s stuff, he's really gets into some neat folk on there. Still him and acoustic guitar. But it's really I found some very interesting material, much better than his later stuff, in my own personal opinion. So I picked him up. I found this when I was out the last week. Bootsy's Rubber Band. Yes, this boot is made for funkin'. God, I love the titles of Bootsy. He started, as most of you know, with James Brown, him and his brother, and he really came down with those grooves, with the bass grooves, and then he went with Parliament, and James Brown, was really structured. Then you go to Parliament, and it's just pure chaos happening there. So he really enjoyed it, and obviously he went out on his own. But look at this. See this? I don't know if you can see that. It says JB. See those initials? JB. I think this must be autographed by James Brown. It says JB, James Brown. Must be. So that's what I'm sticking with on it. Great album. It was really fun. It's, if you like Parliament, that's a good one. It is Bootsy's. For whatever reason, I've always liked Grace Jones, and no exception. This is just a extended play album with some of the Grace Jones tracks, and it's really more of the early, some of her earlier items. I just found her a fascinating person in her music, so always kind of been very interesting to me. It's just fun. It's easy to dance to, as they would say on American Bandstand. So it's a good pickup. How do you pronounce that? Caravanserai, I don't know. It's Santana. I think it's his fourth album here from the early 70s. I've had it on CD, hadn't had it in vinyl. Suddenly there it was, so I thought I might as well pick it up. It was fairly inexpensive, and if you like the early Santana, which I personally do, because I'm an old guy, we always like the older stuff, this is a nice one to get. Found this one from the Dramatics, and it's called the Dramatic Jackpot. How about that? I did not own anything from the Dramatics. I really have gotten to enjoy a lot of the 70s groups, all with the singing, the harmonies and everything, but I didn't have anything from Dramatics. What got me interested in this is I was watching, there's this movie called Detroit. It was about the 60s riots that were going on in Detroit. And the Dramatics were part of that because they were trying to get a break and trying to get going, and the riots interrupted one of their first concerts that they had in front of some very important people. And it just got me, wow, the Dramatics, yeah, I kind of forgot about them. So I went out and looked again. I've always looked for the earlier stuff because I tend to like that, and found this here. Really good. I like the Stylistics better, the OJ's better, but it was still a nice album. It didn't cost a lot. I was happy about this one, and it's a group called The Silence. It's actually still wrapped up. This is from the early 90s, and if you don't know about them, kind of a little Tex-Mex feel at time on there, a little alternative country. They've made stuff into the aughts, and I found their stuff on CD, but I had never seen it in vinyl. Suddenly this one came up, and if you don't know them, it's probably hard to, to me, there's hits because I've just listened to their other things on CDs, and it's just stuff I really like Maybe Everything, just one of my favorite. It has this cool accordion there. Caroline was a really, really neat one. Uh, they do a little bit of Spanish in it too, which I always totally enjoy on here. But, they got good reviews on their first albums, again, in the early 80s. The early 90s, and they kind of fell off a little bit as they tried to experiment. But the Silos, take a listen to them. If you like that kind of alt country, when Wilco and all that was going around, this might be one that you're really going to enjoy. Found this one, Whammy, from B-52s. I had it on tape. I didn't have it in album, and I don't even have it in CD. And so, I like the B-52s. Kind of forgot about this tape, put it on, listened to it. Kind of remembered why I didn't buy it in CD and why I didn't buy it in an album earlier. It's okay, it just wasn't as quirky as the other stuff. If you love Whammy, fantastic. I'm happy for you. For me, well, gosh darn it, into the sax you go. Maybe I'll listen to it another 10 years. This was probably my most exciting find, Detroit. All right, so guess where the band's from? Come on, take a guess. Yeah, Detroit. It has Mitch Ryder in it, and this thing rocks. It does. It's like Mitch Ryder, and it's like one of his albums, but even a little more rocking on there. You think when you got Bob Seger and all that stuff going on, and the album cover sold me at first. And you would think I would know about this, but I just live in Michigan now. I'm not from Michigan, so, I didn't really know about Detroit. Really fun, great album. If you ever see that thing, it's worth, taking a look at. It's nice, some early 70s type rock going on there. These guys really were good. So give it a shot, give it a try. Listen to it if you find it. Detroit. Can't go wrong with that name. Vinyl Me sent in their Arctic Monkeys. I do have it on CD. It's colored vinyl, kind of a ugly color actually on the colored vinyl. I have quite a bit of Arctic Monkeys I bought on CDs. That's the first vinyls, record of the month, so in it came. Had this one, only a couple more here. I'm kind of running through them. Blue Swede, Hooked on a Feeling. All right, so my brother in the early 70s. God, did I cover this one before? I don't think I did. Well, he got a clock radio, and on the day after Christmas, the very first song that came on the clock radio, it just went, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka. Just got that feeling. It was Blue Swede. Had never heard it, but it was the very first song I heard, and I loved it. I went out and bought the 45, but I'd never really seen the album. So a couple years ago, I actually found the album, and it was in okay shape. Now I found another one, much better cover, very clean, very nice. So shall we say I trade up. I do quite a bit of that now for my record shopping. Here was a really neat find, and again I got this in town at Radio Wasteland. Bobby Fuller's I Fought the Law, and the Law Won. Wow, it's a hit, we all know it. Clash made it really big. This is just a nice kind of rockabilly type sound to it. These guys really know how to move and groove. It isn't a bunch of the kind of syrupy, sappy crap from the early 60s. These guys rock. And so there it was sitting there. It wasn't the cheapest thing I've ever bought in the world, but I really couldn't pass it up. Again, just when you think about the history of music and where we've evolved and how it changes, I totally, kind of one of my favorite parts about music is just, hearing how that all evolves and buying. So, I have a ton of stuff, but it's all important to me because, there is significance to it. So that was a really great album. Really enjoyed it. So now today I'm just going through the stuff that I got on Record Store Day. I got more used stuff that obviously I found when I was out there, and I think if I want to stay married I may have to slow it down. And vacation time's coming up, but I'm just finding a lot of really great things out there. So I hope you guys all had a great Record Store Day if you participated. If you didn't, that's fine too. I got on my Johnny Cash shirt. He's just kind of telling, I don't know, that finger looks like something else. You can decide what that finger looks like. It's a nice little flip-off shirt. So I appreciate you coming on. All 15 of you that have subscribed to this channel, thank you very much. If we want to make 16, go ahead. Someone hit it. Become 16. Fantastic. If not, enjoy, because it's always important. Like I said, I like to show how I'm spending my children's inheritance. Have a great day.